Here, the motos earlier today were exciting to watch, and we got the 1/8s coming up. They're going to be fantastic.
Yeah, they're going to be superb. We can see some of the riders here warming up behind the scenes, the fans getting involved and certainly supporting their locals like Malin, Kelstrup. Connor, you've been in this situation on this very track. How are the riders feeling right now?
This might be the most stressful lap of the weekend because this is the first one at single elimination. And if you don't do well in this lap, you don't get to even race tomorrow. So there's a lot of pressure on this one.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of pressure on this one. It's down 4 riders going through, 4 riders going out. It's going to be a tough one. But let's take a look around this beautiful city of Copenhagen in Denmark. It's got such a rich history. Goes back many centuries. You've got so much to do here in the city of Copenhagen. It's cycling specific. There's so much infrastructure for cycling. There's actually more bikes than cars in Copenhagen. You've got amazing buildings. You've got so much to see, so much to do. And all the riders and the families who've been here for the challenge racing during the week have made so much out of it. It's an ideal venue for any world championship in any world club discipline. And it's one of the most popular tourist destinations in Europe. It's great for a city break. If you've got the chance to visit Copenhagen, then I recommend that you actually do it. So, as we look at the overview of the beautiful skies here, it's slightly overcast in Copenhagen, but the temperature's 20 degrees centigrade. We've got a 12-kilometre-an-hour wind, which is more than enough for BMX racing. It's pretty much perfect conditions, and we're going to take a look at the track with Magnus Dyer.
Hej, Magnus Dyer her. Kom med på en gåtur på VM-banen her i København. Okay, let's go up to the start hill. We are here on the start hill on Copenhagen BMX track with the look all over the track. You see the first jump, it's not quite big, so you would have to push a bit to keep it low over that, and then we have the 2 rollers. Yeah, I'm sure there will be some different options on the 2 rollers. We saw back in 2011 some different stuff was going on there. It's like pedal, manual, double pump. Some nice battles will happen in that area, but I'm sure that will be cool. And let's head down there to have a look. And then we're heading into triple, into the first turn. Most of the guys will be jumping. And as a detail, the first straight here is actually the same as in 2011 Worlds. So the new part is from here, where it begins with the landing on the triple here into the first turn, kind of shrinking down the first straight. And then we go around where we are starting with a step, where you have to really get over it into the second turn. The women's side, where they come in onto a kind of a stepped up double, and then they have a flat double, and then we're seeing this step up, and then we're going together with the men's side. Okay, so we're here on the very long third straight, which we're looking at right now, and it has a lot of rollers, so that means a lot of different options, and then we go around to the very short fourth straight. You'll have to do the move quite early and not wait too long, because the finish line is coming quite fast. So you could be jumping gaps or riding down in all the gaps. And well, good luck to all the riders here. See you on the track.
And that was Magnus Dyer, Danish athlete, bringing us the guided tour of the track here in Copenhagen. It's a track that's not long since had a bit of a rebuild. How do you remember the track when you raced it in 2011, Connor?
I remember really enjoying it, but it's completely different now. Everything from the first turn on is completely different.
So, yeah, certainly some changes been made here, and changes for the better, because the racing in the early rounds was unbelievably exciting. There was plenty of action, plenty of drama. So we've got more of it to come here in the 1/8 finals, but we can't do it without the UCI connoisseurs, the people who make it all happen behind the scenes. The president of the UCI connoisseurs panel, Ewan Goodman, aided by Geordie Marr, the secretary, Quentin Burton, and our BMX coordinator, Norm McCann. So these are the people who make it happen behind the scenes and just make sure that we have a race that runs smoothly. As we look at some of the action from the earlier rounds, Connor, anything that stood out to you as we went through those early rounds?
I tell you what stands out, this is clearly one of the very first motos, because then the skies opened up, it started raining. It was raining really hard for some of the juniors, as you're seeing here, but now the sun's out, And it's almost been 3 different days worth of weather in the last couple of hours.
Yeah, we've had so many changes in weather. We literally had thunder clouds hanging over us for a period of time, and then it put some rain down, as you can see here, as these riders left the gates, and then the sun came out, started to dry up again. So yeah, it's been very, very interchangeable as we've gone through the racing, but certainly, you know, the action and the drama, there's been no shortage of that as we've gone through these rounds. As you see these riders heading towards the line, you can see Matthew Gilson of Great Britain there on the right-hand side of the shot going into the turn, battling with the Argentinian and the Italian rider as they came out of the turn and headed down towards that finish line. There was plenty of action going on, and we look at these riders just spending the time on the gate and getting ready to go.
Saw a lot of action in the last turn. There was a lot of high lows that were done. It seemed to really bunch up towards the end of the third straightaway. And in this 1/8, you know, I'm really going to keep an eye on that 3rd, 4th, 5th place position. I think that's where there's a lot of moves that are going to be made.
Yeah, and certainly as well as that last turn, there was some action on the triple going into turn number 1, the 3 jumps that line the end of the first straight and go into that first turn. Some riders, you know, making it through better than others.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of big crashes there. Everybody walked off. You know, luckily everybody was okay. Manine Kelstrup, the local rider, she had a bad first moto, but turned it around, handled business in her LCQ. We'll see her tomorrow.
Yeah, we certainly will, as we watch the riders just working their way off. And Manine Kelstrup, who did take that tumble, you know, the local favourite, you know, the fans are expecting great things from her as we look at the riders lining up on the gate. But there's been so much action, so much drama so far already, and we can't wait to carry on bringing it to you. Anybody in the elite men category that stood out for you, Connor?
This is going to be a really boring answer, but Joris today did Joris today things, right? But Jamie O'Brink actually had the fastest lap time. Joris was second fastest, Isaac Kennedy third, but there was nothing between them.
No, there was literally fractions of a second between those riders, but every single fraction of a second counts because it, you know, it affects your gate pick, doesn't it?
It really does, and I think here on this particular track, the lap times are going to be very close. The track is high speed. There's not really anything that is overly difficult, and the riders are doing a lot of the same lines when you get to that top level. So I think those lap times are going to be really close, but they're going to be key to get to the inside.
Yeah, which parts of the track do you feel like where things could actually make or break for people?
Really, the entrance to the second turn, that's where we've seen a lot of different lines. There's a roller into a triple, and we've seen a few different combinations. Most notably, Kai White made a fantastic move to go from second to first in his moto.
Yeah, as we take a look at the riders behind the scenes making those last-minute adjustments. Feeling that is Evan Esposito of the United States, a rider you know well, Connor, coming through in the USA ranks and making his debut at the World Championships.
Yeah, very naturally talented rider. He's a first-year junior, and so I can only imagine the nerves he's feeling here. His first time ever racing the World Championship class.
Yeah, take us back to when you were a first-year junior. How did that feel coming to a big event like this?
I actually missed the World Championships my first-year junior. I was injured. That would have been Adelaide, 2009.
Yeah.
So I cannot give you a perspective there, but I imagine I would have been real nervous because I was in my second-year junior. I was definitely nervous then too.
Yeah, absolutely. As we look at the athletes, warming up there behind the scenes, Joris Daudet of France, the Olympic champion, took it in that memorable final in Paris. 12 months to the day, I believe, as well, Connor.
Yeah, and I mean, so impressive to see Joris as well as Sylvain Andre and Renaud Blanc out here. And they were racing here 14 years ago with a chance to win, and they're all back here 14 years later, and any one of them could win.
Yeah, I think if Joris Daudet took a win here 14 years after he took his first World Championship in Copenhagen, it would be a superbly popular win, I think, for all BMX fans. I think they'd all love it.
I think at this point, everybody recognizes that they're seeing greatness, that he is the greatest of all time, and I think everybody's appreciating every lap they get to watch him.
Yep, so let's take you up to the top of the hill for the first of the male junior 185. There's 5 riders lined up in the gates: France, Belgium, Britain, Ecuador and Switzerland. So 5 riders up there. I can see Ben Cornish of Great Britain. He's in there in gate number 4 in that fluorescent pink helmet. That's how we pick him out. He's got Clement Rocheroux, Rommel Santiel-Cartier, Ilo Lenson, Nick Hoffer, and the rising star of French BMX, Clement Rocheroux, to deal with as well.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Gate Drops on the first of the men junior 1-8 finals. Who's going to be the first across that first jump? It's Clément Rocheroux of France, the rising star of French BMX, in and out of that first turn. Out in front, 4 riders are going through. One's going to be unlucky and go out at this stage of the competition, but there's no denying that Rocheroux is the man out in front at the moment. Hoffer's in there into that. Looks like the rider from South America who's on the outside looking in, and Ben Cornish of Great Britain is in there in 4, and Elo Lenson of Belgium in there in that third spot, but Rocheroux's going to bring it to the line. Rocheroux, Hoffer, Lenson, Cornish all going through. Clément Rocheroux, a very, very clean lap, Connor.
It was, and I'm looking at that lap time, and that was a faster lap than any of the elite men ran.
Wow.
That was
So
31 in the first round. Now, obviously, the track is a little bit drier than it was earlier. It had been raining, but that just tells you just how fast of a lap that was. I did not see a single mistake from Rocheroux there. He hit every mark that he was trying to hit right there. It was really impressive.
yeah, do you think the riders benefit by having just 5 riders on the gate for these 8 finals? They've got more space to move?
It definitely changes the dynamic. Let me tell you, when you're in 4th, you know that rider in 5th doesn't have to worry about anybody coming up underneath them or trying to pass them. And you know the track is wide open for them, so it's going to be some action for sure.
Yeah, and luckily Ben Cornish of Great Britain held on to that 4th spot, so he's going to go through to the quarterfinals with Elo Lenson, Nick Hoffer and Clément Rocheroux of France. Those riders confirmed as going through to the next round of the competition as we move back to the top of the gate for 8th final, heat number 2 for the men junior. Simonsen, Faure, Gat, Vallejo, Maddox Van Dien from the Netherlands as well. And you can hear from the crowd that Rasmus Simonsen is up on the gate. There he is in the Danish colours. The Danish fans have been very, very vocal all day long for their riders. Let's see what he's got in this 8th final.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
The second of the 8 finals for the men junior is go, and the local favourite Simonsen is going to lead it into the turn. He's got the Australian right there with him as well. That's going to be Cameron Gatt. They're going to come out of the corner 1 and 2. Valentino Vallejo is making his move now on the French rider. Vallejo, who finished 3rd in that Junior Men World Championship final last year. He's got together with Maddox Van Dien. The elbows are flying at the moment as they go down the straight. The Argentinian in that 4th qualifying position. Van Dien in there in 5. He's on the outside looking in. Oh, Vallejo's gone down in the final turn. Disaster for the rider from Argentina. Simonsen, Gat, Faure, Van Dien going through, and Vallejo, what could have been.
Heartbreak for the Argentinian right there. There were some great battles that whole lap between 2nd and 5th. You could throw a blanket over him for most of that lap.
Yeah, Tita Faure looked like he just threw himself underneath of Vallejo, and Vallejo had the figure of Maddox Van Dien chasing him down as well. He got very tight as they came towards this final turn. Let's see what happened.
Just stuck on the inside there. It goes a little bit too tight, washes the back end. That's the end of his World Championships right there.
Yeah, so Valentino Vallejo, he finished 3rd in that Junior Men World Championship final last year in Rock Hill, South Carolina, but his day has ended very, very early here in Copenhagen, Denmark. And there is your result. Rasmus Simonsen taking the win, Cameron Gatt in 2nd position, Faure of France in 3rd, Maddox Van Dien rounding out the top 4, and Vallejo, well, he's got to wait another year to have another go at winning the title. As we move on to 8th final, heat number 3, Mark Luthi, Nathan Maserati, Finn Kogan, Samuel Norrlander Gill, and Sergio Andreas Gazon also in the mix. 2 Colombians in this one, and we know that these South American riders are capable of great things.
You see right there, he was drawing the area his back wheel is on, just trying to make sure there's no moisture, because you don't want to spin at all, and it was raining earlier,
Okay,
so
riders,
he must have seen some
random
moisture.
start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So will that extra attention to detail pay off for the Colombian rider as he comes down the hill? It's fairly even so far. One rider gets squeezed to the outside. That was Mark Luthi of Switzerland, so he's back there in 5. He's got a lot of work to do, and it's Finn Kogan leading it out. Gill and Garzon, the 2 Colombians, are 2 and 3 at the moment, and he's getting mixed up in the turn. And Luthi's looking for a way back in as well, but it's Finn Kogan of New Zealand leading it down the straight. The French rider in there in 3. That's Nathan Maserati as they go to the final corner. Maserati holding on to that 3rd position. Look at the battle for 4. Who's going to get into the line? The Swiss rider. I think he's managed it. Mark Luthi just pipping the Colombian for that 4th spot. He left it late, but he got it done.
Did a good job staying calm throughout that entire lap. He was first gate pick, he was in lane number 1, the Swiss rider. Didn't get the start that he wanted, and the Frenchman just put his bike right in front of him. And even they collided over that first jump there. Heads up riding to stay up for both of them. But as you can see, right here in the second turn, the Swiss riders just high-low and trying to find a way to get into that 4th place position. And they had to wait to the very end at the finish line by 0.04 to go through to tomorrow.
Wow, absolutely amazing result. No problems for Finn Kogan, who went through in that first position. Gil of Colombia in 2, Maserati of France in 3, and Mark Luthi just stealing it by a fraction in there in 4, and he progresses.
Tell you, that's a good name for a racer, Maserati.
Yep, speed by name, speed by nature. As we move on to heat number 4, Christus Appels of Latvia. This one's co-driver Jesse De Veer of the Netherlands, Austin Cornbill, who performed really well in those earlier rounds, and Reinars Pavlovs as well. So.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Final number 4 for the men junior, heading down the hill. Christus Appels of Latvia, such a rich BMX history in that country, with Mari Strombergs taking 2 Olympic champions, and they're breeding the next group of champions, and this is one of them. Christus Appels just working his way through that second straight. Austin Cornbill looking good. He's just managed to avoid running into the Latvian rider's back wheel, and that is Jesse De Veer in there in that 4th spot for the Netherlands as they approach the final turn. So De Veer is the man who will be going through in that final qualification position. He's going to hold it to the line. Appels takes it. Cornbill, Kaiser, Jesse De Veer, Pavlov's out in 5, but the Latvian led from the gates to the line.
Doing his best Mara Stromberg's impression there. Appels had a fantastic start, established the lead right away. You can see he's already got a bike length on the rest of the moto right there by the time they get over that first jump.
Yeah, Jesse De Veer of the Netherlands must have felt outnumbered, 2 Canadians and 2 Latvians to deal with, and he was in 5th spot as they headed down that second straight, but he worked his way into a top 4 position, had a quick look just to see where the rider behind him was so he could cover the line, and he held it all the way to the
When
stripe.
you're in 4th place and you know the rider in 5th is going to be looking for that inside move in the last turn, he was making sure that he wasn't right there.
And there is your confirmed result. Christus Appels, Zachary Kaiser, Austin Cornbill and Jesse De Veer all confirmed as going through to the quarterfinals. Pavlovs of Latvia, unfortunately, his World Championship is over. As we move on to heat number 5, Evan Oliveira, David Ferreira, Jimmy Criddle out of Great Britain, Preston Murray and Joachim Salem from Argentina. 5 more riders, junior men 17 and 18 years old, so right at the start of their BMX careers and looking for a way through to this junior men World Championship final.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Jimmy Criddle of Great Britain right in the middle of that gate with riders all around him, but it looks like Oliveira who's got the better of the starts as he head towards turn number 1. Jimmy Criddle working his way into 2. Argentina in there in about 5 at the moment with all the work to do, in the Australian rider Preston Murray is putting the moves on David Ferreira, I think it is, as they come in and out of that turn. Murray in that 4th spot, but it's the Frenchman Oliveira leading it into the final corner. Jimmy Criddle of Great Britain looking good in 2. It's France, Great Britain, Switzerland, Australia. That's going to be the result as they go across the line. The Argentinian rider goes out. Joachim Salem out at this stage, but a great lap for Oliveira and Jimmy Criddle.
Oliveira giving the French fans something to be excited about. He was dominant on that lap.
Yeah, certainly was. And, you know, you've got the likes of Evan Oliveira and Clement Rocheroux as well. There's such a talent production line coming out of France. And certainly these riders have been putting in the work, and it's showing in these 8 finals.
Jimmy Criddle really did a good job of accelerating out of this first turn here.
Yeah, the rider out of Preston Pirates BMX Club, and I'm sure his friends and family will be watching back home. He's put it in the laps like that, and it's certainly been enough to get him through to the next stage. And Salem of Argentina just ruined the look that he had.
You can see how much it means to these riders when they don't make it. They know it's going to be a long trip home.
Yeah, definitely. Oliveira, Criddle, Ferreira and Murray confirmed as going through to those quarterfinals as we wait for heat number 6. Riders lining up though on the gates. We've got Lucas Su of Canada, Bailey Seppel of Australia, Federico Passa of Italy, Ceballos of Colombia and Victor Ulrich Chudoba of the Czech Republic.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Heat 6 leaving the hill of these 8 finals for the junior men. Who's going to be the first into that first turn, take that all-important hole shot? Looks like the Colombian Ceballos has managed to take it away. Lucas Zhu of Canada in there in 3, Passer in 3, and the Australian rider going through in 4 is Bailey Seckold as they go into the turn that's starting to dry out. Here it was damp earlier on, but it's certainly starting to maintain its grip now as we go further into the competition. Passer's in there in 3, Seckold in 4. Looks like Chidoba is going to be the odd man out, but it's Ceballos, the Colombian, bringing it to the line. Lucas Zhu with a different line, holds on for that 2. Passer in 3, Seckold in 4, but the Colombians showing what they're made of.
You watch out of the gate, you can see Seckold. He tried to come out of the gate and he tried to get in front of Lucas Zhao from Canada. Right here, you see him kind of trying to move over, gets a little bit out of rhythm on that first jump, but he was able to get back into it. But the Colombian rider from the outside had a clean line and was able to take the whole shot.
Yeah, and he led them down the straight towards that second turn, and Victor Chidoba from the Czech Republic, he was doing everything he could to catch up with Bailey Seckold as they went in and out of that second turn. Lucas Zhu looking really comfortable at that point, and Federico Passer knew he had a position to play with as they got to the line. But yes, there's your official result, and Victor Chidoba, unfortunately, his World Championships is over. Everybody else going through to the quarterfinals.
I tell you, Lucas was looking, he was thinking about trying to make a pass for first, but I think he thought better of it and figured second's going to get me through.
Definitely would. So heat number 7, Jesse Elzenga Jermakovs of Latvia, Evan Esposito, Max Kuhlmann, Aaron Donald, and Rodrigo Morales Bermelo from Spain. So real international mix in heat number 7. Evan Esposito of the USA, and there he is. First time at a World Championships.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Heat 7 of the 1/8 finals. Jesse Elzenga of the Netherlands on the outside, so he's got a long way to come across. Who's going to lead it into turn number 1? The Spanish rider diving underneath. That's Morales Bermeo out there in front. He's got Donald right around him as well. It's getting very even as they come towards the corner. Oh, and Evan Esposito's worked his way through to the front of the pack. So the American first-year junior leading out this 1/8 final. Into the final corner we go. He's got riders stacked up behind him though. Bermeo has been shuffled back into that 4th spot, and it looks like Elzinga's going to be the odd man out in 5, but Evan Esposito of the USA, superb lap with Donald and Kuhlmann behind him. That's going to be a real boost for the Americans' confidence.
There's a great awareness of the positioning of himself and the other riders from Evan Esposito there. He comes out of the gate and he's in 3rd place, but he's patient in the first turn. Kind of finds the hole, runs the high-low, goes down the outside of the second straightaway, and avoids, here you go, here's the high-low. He avoids the other riders, and they're kind of slowing down. The Spanish rider almost went over the first turn there by himself. But then it was just chaos. The top 4 right there, all within a couple of meters of each other. And Evans in front, and I tell you, the front, first place, that's the safest place to be.
Absolutely. You could see Bermeo, the Spanish rider, who was desperately looking for a way around anybody just to pick up an extra position. But Esposito at the line did what he needed to do, followed him by Aaron Donald of Australia, and Kuhlmann, the Swiss rider, as well.
You always sleep a little bit better after you win the last lap of the day on day 1. So Evan will be feeling good at dinner. He'll sleep a little better tonight after that.
Yeah, certainly confidence for that young rider from Florida. Moving on to the last of the 8 finals for the men junior. Jesper Wahlberg from Sweden, Souza Leal from Brazil, Kelstrup from Denmark, Purins from Latvia, De Souza out of Brazil, and William Garner out of Denmark. So the Danish fans going absolutely wild. They've got 2 riders lined up in the last of the junior men at 1/8 finals. They're making their voices heard. The Danish flags flying in the stands. Let's see what they've got.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
So are the Danish fans going to get the results that they want? Looks like the rider in the middle has got an absolutely great one. That's going to be Jeppe Kelstrup as they go into that first turn, but it's the Brazilian rider, De Oliveira, who's out in front and in control. We've got one Danish rider in a qualifying position, one on the outside looking in. The Latvian trying to get involved as well. That's Gustav Purins, and Kelstrup is in that 4th spot. Wahlberg in there in 3. The Brazilians are going 1 and 2 into the final corner. Desperate times and desperate moves. and the elbows are flying. Looks like the Latvian and the Dane have got together. The Brazilians go 1 and 2. Volberg in there in 3. Kelstrup in 4. The Danes have got 1 rider through, 1 rider out, but it was all about Brazil.
Great start from the outside there from D'Souza, who's in lane 5, lane 6, but he was able to get in front of everybody else and take a commanding hole shot.
Yep, certainly was. The Brazilians going 1 and 2 at this point, and the Dane and the Swedish rider neighbours on the map, and also neighbours on the second straight, literally banging elbow to elbow as they went towards the final corner.
You can see Kelstrup tiptoeing right here because he knew he had 4th, so he didn't want to push the envelope too much, run the risk of going down or potentially slowing himself down any further. But he was able to tiptoe around and hold on to that 4th place.
Yeah, he did everything he needed to do to get through, and there is your confirmed result. D'Souza Oliveira, D'Souza Lille, Volberg and Kelstrup confirmed as going through to those quarterfinals in the Men Junior BMX World Championships.
Gonna take the level up a notch now, Rich.
Yep, we're going to move on to the men under 23. So, yeah, it's about to get faster, it's about to get more hectic. And we are looking at the first of those 1-8 finals. Augustus Baxis, Carlos Ordonez, Matteo Fore, Joel Marsh, Matthew Gilston, Jonas Idsoff of Denmark, and Jason Nordam of the Netherlands.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
The action gets faster as the first of the under-23 8 finals leads the game. It's the World Cup Series leader, Jason Nordam, who's going to lead them into the turn. Joel Marsh is in there as well. Where is Matthew Gilston of Great Britain? He's back there in about 6th at the moment. He's got a lot of work to do. The Danish rider just catches his back wheel halfway down the second straight. That allows the riders to stack up behind him. Looks like the French rider Matteo Fore is in there in that 4th spot. Matthew Gilston of Great Britain is starting to make some moves as they come to that final corner. He might have just left himself a little bit too much to do. One rider goes down in that final corner. Marsh in there in 2nd, the Danish rider in 3rd, Matteo Fore in 4th, but Jason Nordam, he's on fire in these 8 finals.
Nordam and Marsh, they stretched it out. The real battle was from 3 to 5. But Jason Nordam, he won 3 of the 4 World Cups to start the season, and he's looking to pick up where he left off. I'm sure that he thinks that anything short of a rainbow jersey this weekend is going to be coming up short of the goal.
Yep, Jason Nordam, he's won 3 out of the 4 World Cups, as you said, Connor. He's been absolutely imperious all through the early part of the season. He's brought this form into the World Championships. He's out in front there with Joe Marsh behind him. And the Danes getting what they wanted with their rider in there inside the top 4, transferring through to the next round. There is your confirmed result. Jason Nordam, Joe Marsh, Jonas Idskoff and Matteo Fore of France all making it through to the quarterfinals of men under 23. Heat number 2 lining up on the gate. More action, more excitement for our Danish fans as we've got Marcus Leth in there. He's got Niels Appelmont with him, Sebastian Aguilera, Dieter Bruns, Federico Capello, Remo Hoffer and Marcus Leth as well. So plenty for the home fans to cheer about.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
The Danish rider Marcus Leth opting for lane number 7. Is it going to pay off for him? He's moving his way across and getting himself into a good position going into turn number 1. So a clear run there for the Danish rider. Oh, looks like somebody slid out of the back of the pack as they head down towards turn number 2. Where is Federico Capello? He's right there in the middle of the pack, and we know these South American riders can make moves in the corner. Oh, it looks like Appelmont, I think, has gone down. One of the Belgians has gone as they head towards the final corner. No such problems for Marcus Leth and Remo Hoffer. They're going to go 1 and 2. Dodona in there in 3. As they go across the line, as Capello worked his way in, he has Appelmont out in 5.
Marcus Leth just ran a sub-8 second first straight. That's the first one we've seen today.
Yep, certainly got the speed. He kept himself out of trouble in gate number 7, worked his way across, took a clean hole shot, had everybody else behind him battling away. The Belgians doing the best to work their way through. It was very, very crowded as they went into that first turn. Remo Hoffer of Switzerland diving underneath, Leth out in front, and it got very, very hectic in that corner, and you can see the rider's tyres just sliding away, putting him down on the floor. So, yeah, disaster there, I think, for Dieter Bruns.
You can see the second turn is the only part of the track that still has some moisture on it. It's not getting full sun. It's a little bit in the shade, and it's causing it to dry out a little bit slower. But as you can see right here, contrasting to the first and third turn, there's still some moisture there, so the riders have to be a little careful, tiptoe through that second turn a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that works out as the race moves on. And there is your result: Capello, Dodona, Hoffer and Leff all going through. Nils Appermont, who made the podium as a junior last year in Rock Hill, unfortunately his first foray into under 23s has been unsuccessful. As we see the beautiful overview here of the track in Copenhagen in Denmark. Our Belgian rider being looked after by our first-class medical team, highly trained here, looking after the riders as we move to heat number 3, and one of the favourites lined up in gate number 1, Joshua Jolly of Australia. He's already got a USA BMX Pro Series win to his name this year, 2 of them in fact, and he's got a lot of speed to burn.
Yeah, he won in Bakersfield on day number 1, and then backed it up by winning day number 2 to show it was no fluke.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So Joshua Jolly, the man to watch in heat number 3 of the Under-23 World Championships, but he's got Edgars Langmanis and former junior world champion Marco Radielli to deal with as well. Langmanis dives underneath, Radielli's in there in 3, the former junior men world champion, but it is Joshua Jolly of Australia out in front. He's got 3 or 4 bike lengths now on the Latvian in there in 2, who's got that final qualifying position. It looks like the Colombian rider at the moment. That's going to be Morantes, I think it is, as they go into the final turn. Morantes where he needs to be, inside the top 4. Jolly takes the win. Langmanis in 2, Zimmerman in 3, Morantes in 4, but Joshua Jolly looks extremely good.
He was dominant from the jump. Lane number 1. You can see him push into the outside a little bit to take the entry angle that he wants into this turn. The action really, though, was behind him, with the Latvian rider making a great move to establish himself in second place in front of the Italian.
Yeah, there was a big battle going on there between Langmanis and Radielli, and they still weren't finished with it when they got to that final corner. And Radielli doing everything he could to hold off the Latvian rider, but he hadn't done enough because Morantes was out in front for Colombia, and Radielli, his World Championships over in that 5th position. So Josh Jolly, Edgar Langmanis, Zimmerman of Brazil and Morantes of Colombia, all going through to the quarterfinals. Marco Radielli, his day is done.
It's interesting looking at these gate selections here for heat number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8.
Yeah, people taking strategic decisions. Nobody wanting gate number 5. We've got Jos Marnum of Great Britain in this one, and the Danish rider right there on the outside, Marcus Lindberg. As you can hear, the home fans going wild for their rider. Let's see if he can pick up where Marcus left off.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Heat number 4 of the men under 23 1-8 finals. Tremanis got a great start, but that looks like the rider from Great Britain, Jos Marnum, leading it out now. So he had to come through the LCQ, but he's having no such problems in this 1-8 finals. But he's got Casper Piepers to deal with as well as they go in and out of the turn. Little bit of trepidation as they came round, just trying to keep those tyres on the ground. Piepers is working his way to the inside as they go in the final corner. Marnum's looking safe in that 2nd position. Marnum's going to make it in. Is Tremanis going to make it in as well? He's under pressure at the line. Piepers, Marnum, Tremanis, Groppo's made it in. The Danish rider's out.
Jos Marnum made a mistake in the turn number 2 and lost a little bit of momentum, and that is what allowed Pipers to squeeze by him in the last turn. But his first straight was fantastic. That was Jos from the outside, establishing the lead. As we get into the 2nd turn and the replay of that, he jumps in to the triple and then bonks on the way into the turn. That really kind of slows his momentum. And also it seemed to throw off his rhythm just a little bit, which was enough for Pipers to squeeze underneath the inside there.
Yeah, and then you've got the ever-present Albert Groppo, who's well adept at finding gaps in corners and things of that nature, and he's worked his way into a top 4. So Tremanis in 3, Marnham through into Casper Peepers taking the win in Heat 4 of the 1/8 finals for the men under 23.
That's the trick. If you make one mistake, you can't let it turn into 2, into 3, into 4. You got to forget about it, move on.
Yeah, just keep that rhythm going as we look at Heat 5 at the start list. Alexis Pichinowski of France. We've got Carmona, Gis Lang, Jesse Asmus, and the reigning world champion in this age group, Pedro Benel Cesar.
He had to come to the LCQ. Let's see if he can
riders,
pick it back
random
up.
start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So the reigning world champion in men under 23, he's had to do it the hard way, and he's going to have to do it the hard way in this 8th final as well as they head towards that first one. Oh, it looks like riders have gone, and that is the world champion, I think, who's hit the ground. So the defending world champion might be out at this stage, or is he in there in that 4th spot at the moment? I think he has done. So it's Pierre Gisto leading it, Pikanowski out in front, Jesse Asmus into Mika Lang in 3. And the reigning world champion is just holding on in that 4th spot at the moment, but he's got nobody anywhere near him. He's going to go through in 4th. All the action in turn number 1. Pichinowski takes the win. Asmus, who also came through the LCQ, in there in 2, but it all got mixed up as they got to that first turn.
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than anything else, and Pedro was out on the outside, and he was away from all the action that was going on in the first turn. You see here on the far right of your screen, Pedro, Ecuador, just was able to avoid all the carnage. He stayed high in the turn, and right there, that was it. 4th place, qualifying position.
Yeah, Jesse Asmus of Australia, who's just come back from a concussion as well. It's his, his first race back, so he's going to be happy with the 2nd place in that one. Mika Lang in there in 3. Pichinowski looking in absolutely great form, the French rider, and the Colombian just wondering what might have been Juan Velasquez Carmona, his World Championships is on. There is your confirmed result. Pichinowski, Asmus, Lang, and Benel Salazar lives to fight another day. He'll go through to the quarterfinals.
Your defending world champion has had one great lap with his LCQ, one not so good with his first moto, and then that one was just kind of okay. So we'll see what he can bring tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully he'll have more to show on day number 2. Heat 6 lining up, including Thomas Maturano, a rider who's very excited to watch. Already had the World Championship in Glasgow in 2023. Jack Greenoff in there as well for New Zealand.
Okay,
Ryan
riders,
Maturano,
random
he had
start.
a great first moto earlier.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
So it's Skursbeck of Germany who occupies that inside gate with Matthias Jacquet right there as well as they head towards the first turn. And who's going to get the whole shot? It looks like it's going to be Thomas Maturano, but all the pressure came from the rider from the Czech Republic. That's Marek Neusel. Neusel out in front. Here comes Greenoff as well. Maturano's on the inside. The French rider getting involved. Jacquet and the Netherlands rider on the outside looking in. That's going to be Ryan Harmon who's back there in 5, and Skursbeck's trying to work his way in that final corner. Neusel leading it out though. Marek Neusel, Jack Greenoff, Matthias Jacquet. Who's going to get it at the line? Maturano, I think, has just about squeaked his way through. Skursbeck's got in there. Jacquet out in 5. It all got mixed up in the final corner and the final straights.
So much action in that final corner. I wish I had more eyes so I could have seen exactly what was going on. Maturano looked to have the whole shot here, but he had to enter the turn so tight that he faded a little high, and the rider from the Czech Republic was able to squeeze underneath.
Yeah, Skursbeck got held up massively as they came out of that first turn. He lost so much speed, but he's managed to pull it back round the rest of the track and work his way through into a qualifying position. And Greenoff in there as well. Maturano banging elbows there with the rider from Germany. And Jacquet was in a qualifying position. Then he was out of it, and Hartmann, well, his day's done.
Some great heads-up riding by Maturano there. The quick reaction time to avoid going down in that last turn and move on.
Yep, Thomas Maturano getting through in that 4th spot. Skursbeck, a great lap to go through in 3. Greenoff in 2. Marek Neusel taking the win. Matthias Jacquet out in 5.
Jacquet is going to be frustrated with that because he was riding really well.
Yep, he certainly was, and part of that French talent train. But as we move on now to the men elite 1/8 finals.
Speaking of French talent train.
Yeah, look who's lined up in gate 1 and 2. That's going to be Joris Dode and Leo Garoyan.
Joris has enough World Championship medals to give everybody on this gate a medal, and then most of them can have 2.
Yeah, he's so consistent at the World Championship level. He won his first world title here in 2011. I think it just would be a fairy tale if he managed to repeat it, but he's got a lot of work to do before that happens.
This
Okay,
motor
riders,
is
random
stacked.
start.
Somebody really fast is not going to make it.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Right, taking a look at the riders heading down the hill. Joris Dode getting the fastest gate. Garayan's in there as well. Where is Drew Polk of the USA? He's in 4. He's worked his way to 3 now, and we know how skilled Drew Polk is in the turns and capable of making moves as they head towards turn number 2. It is Dode leading it out. Swiss rider in there in that second spot. That is Simon Marcotte, the 2022 Elite Men World Champion. So you've got 2 world champions in the top 2 positions. Villegas is in there in 3, Drew Polk in 4, Garayan's going to go out in 5. Joris Dode, business as usual. Simon Marcotte quietly going about it in 2. Drew Polk in 4, Garayan will be disappointed.
Garayan is the odd man out on that one, but keep your eye on Fede Villegas here. Drew Polk makes a great move up the inside. Fede's in 5th place here. He's the odd man out, but he makes a nice high-low in that first turn and squeezes his way back into a 3rd place position. Garayan was looking for the high-low here, but Drew defended it really well. He didn't give Leo anywhere that he could go to make the move. Drew went to all the right parts of the track.
Yeah, he certainly did. And Leo Garayan's World Championship is over. And there is your confirmed result. Joris Dode, Simon Marcotte, Federico Villegas, Drew Polk all going through. And that looks like a fastest
lap of the day right there,
Joris
31.7. But Rochereau in the junior class was 31.8. So like I was saying earlier, those lap times are close.
Very close. As we move to heat number 3, I think we must have had a mechanical of some description in heat 1 because the previous one was heat 2. We're moving on to heat 3. Isaac Kennedy, Theo Tuan, Renaud Blanc, Mitchell Shotman, Gonzalo Molina. Strength, speed and skills all mixed up in this third 1/8 final for the men elite. And there is Isaac Kennedy, Australian champion, 8th in the Olympics in 2024 and world ranked number 6 this year.
They forgot a big result. He was quarterfinals, 10 boys, World Championships, Copenhagen 2011.
Yeah, so he's been in the Worlds here twice. We love watching Isaac. So much speed, so much aggression, everything a BMX racer should be.
I was talking to Isaac earlier, and he's really just trying to take each lap one at a time, treat them all the same, you know, not let the moment, the pressure of the fact that it's a World Championships get to him.
Yeah, and that's half the battle as well, just keeping calm, working out what you need to do, following the process, and getting it done.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So it's Kennedy, Tuan and Shotman occupying gates 1, 2 and 3, and Isaac Kennedy of Australia working the process and working his way into turn number 1 out in front. That looks like Theo Tuan of France in there into Mitchell Shotman. Spent a lot of time here in Denmark working on this track and his experience is showing, and it looks like Molina's on the outside looking in at the moment, and Renaud Blanc, the veteran of the elite men class, so much skill, so much speed, and he's holding on to that 4th spot at the minute and battling for the 3 with Tuan. Looks like Kennedy's going to get it on the line. Kennedy, Shotman, Tuan, Blanc, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Gonzalo Molina in 5, but that was exactly the lap that Isaac Kennedy needed.
Isaac, lane number 1, clean start, establishing the lead right off the bat. Keep your eye on Blanc on the outside here. He's in 5th place there, not there for long. Crafty veteran, gonna make a great move. Renaud has been at it a long time. There's not really many situations he hasn't seen, and right there, as you see, he read that like a book, and he put himself in the right position to take over the fourth place.
Yeah, absolutely. Just put himself where he needed to be, and we've got to give a shout to Mitchell Shotman as well. He's spent so much time in Copenhagen. His partner's Danish. He's spent a huge amount of time training on this track. He must know it like the back of his hand by now, and he brought that experience to bear. Worked his way into the 2nd spot there behind Isaac Kennedy, and that's a great qualification lap for Mitchell Shotman.
Good fast lap time for him too. Decent gate pick tomorrow.
Yeah, doing all the right things at the right time. There is your result. Isaac Kennedy, Mitchell Shotman, Theo Tuan of France and Renaud Blanc of Switzerland, all making their way through to the quarterfinals here at Copenhagen for the 2025 UCI BMX Racing World Championships. Moving up to the gate for heat number 4. This one features Cameron Wood, Magnus Dyer, Cedric Booty, Thibaut Stoffels, Julian Schmidt. Truly international field, Magnus Dyer of Denmark.
Interesting gate selection here. Nobody wanted to be in lane 3 next to Magnus.
Cameron Wood, your USA champion.
Cameron Wood, current USA BMX Pro Series champion in there in gate number 1.
The number 12 bike from the United States of America, Magnus Dyer.
Cedric Booty, the 2017 Junior World Championship. Doesn't feel like 8 years ago since Cedric won that title in Rock Hill.
Making me feel old, Rich.
Joining them, Cedric
But Cameron Wood
of Belgium.
knows how to put a championship winning season together. Now he's got to put a championship winning 2 days together to take the rainbow stripes.
World Championships last year, Booty and Wood went
Okay,
down
riders,
together on that.
random start.
They did.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
1-8 finals, heat number 4 for the elite men. Magnus Dyer absolutely opened the turbochargers and flew into turn number 1. That looks like Cedric Booty in 2, Cameron Wood in 3. Looks like the Belgian rider Thibaut Stoffels is on the outside looking in, chasing down Julian Schmidt into that second turn. So it's the Belgian versus the German for the final qualification spot as they head towards that final corner. Magnus Dyer leading it through. The fans are going absolutely wild as they bring it towards the line. Dyer takes the win, Cameron Wood in there in 3, Cedric Booty for 2, Julian Schmidt through in 4.
Rich, Magnus just ran the fastest lap that we have seen so far today by a big margin. 31.4, 3/10 quicker than what Joris ran, and his first straight was 7.8. It was faster than anything that we have seen. Magnus Dyer is here to battle.
Yeah, certainly is. He looked amazing as he came out of that gate. There's not many people who can put a bike length on Cameron Wood.
I was just thinking that you took the words right out of my mouth. His starts are so explosive. Cedric Booty does a nice job setting himself up into second place. And Cedric's lap time on that one was actually the second fastest lap that we've seen. He just tucked in right behind Magnus. And, you know, as of right now, he's got the second fastest lap. I mean, that was a stacked moto. It was a fast lap. Magnus Dyer is here to play.
Yeah, he's certainly put the work in, and he's showing what he's got, and you know, the kind of the energy that the home fans can give you must be worth a little bit more in these situations.
Oh yeah, and there's something about, you know, sleeping in your own bed and being around your family. It just makes you feel confident, makes you feel relaxed.
Yeah, do you know what? He looked calm and happy as well when he crossed the line, like he knew he wanted to be there. There was no relief. He genuinely looked happy and excited. And, you know, with those lap times, like you say, and if he's putting those first straights together, it only bodes for good things for him. Cedric Booty in 2, Cameron Wood in 3, Julian Schmidt in 4, all going through to the quarterfinals, and the action heating up, the speeds getting faster.
I'll tell you, on this one, I'm excited to watch Sylvain Andre out on the outside, the crafty veteran. You know he's not going to be out there for long.
He's not going to be out there for long. The 2018 world champion took that title out in Baku. We've got Jacob Sardak looking to do the same thing that his compatriots just done. You know, been Danish champion on multiple occasions, taking some silver medals. And I'm excited to see Mathis Rago-Richard, newly crowned European champion. He's certainly got some speed as well.
That was his first big major win, and oftentimes when you get that first win, it can kind of unlock a new level of confidence because you've always thought you belonged, but now you know. Now you've proven it.
Yeah, absolutely. The top comes off the confidence bottle, the confidence comes flooding out. So.
And speaking of confidence bottle, Sylvain Andre, he's got plenty of confidence in that bottle.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Frenchman on the outside, Frenchman on the inside. Look at Sylvain Andre, got an absolute flyer, pulling into turn number 1 with Mathis Rago-Richard. So the French flying in formation in and out of that first turn. Sardak's in that third spot. That looks like Craig back there in 5, and Rico Beerman in that final qualification position. Beerman's already a World Cup win this season. So as they head towards the final corner, can the Canadian catch the rider from New Zealand? But there's no doubt who's out in front. Sylvain Andre, the wily veteran, taking the win in that 8th final. Mathis Rago-Richard in 2, Sardak in 3, Beerman in 4, but Sylvain Andre, isn't he looking good?
He is, but Sylvain and Richard, they made what one might call a baguette sandwich on the first straightaway from the inside and the outside. But Sylvain Andre, he did exactly what he needed to do from the outside there. Took control. He ran a 7.9 first straight, one of the fastest that we've seen. Took over the lead, but Rico Bierman was on the bubble, and he did a great job staying calm, knowing that Curtis Cray, the Canadian, was right behind him and that he was trying to do anything that he could do to get that fourth place spot. But the crafty veteran, Sylvain Andre, it looks like Matos makes a little mistake there in second. Then you see that's why Sylvain was able to spread it out a little bit as they come into that last turn. But Rico Bierman holds on for the fourth place. The New Zealander is going to be racing tomorrow.
Yeah, so those 4 riders going through Sardag, getting through for the Danish fans. But Sylvain Andre, when he's blowing kisses to the camera, you know he's feeling good. I'm excited to see what he can produce from the quarterfinals onwards.
Absolutely, he ran a 31.7, so not quite at what Magnus was running, but even with Joris.
Yeah, there is the result. Sylvain Andre, Matthias Rackle, Richard, Jacob Sardag, Rico Bierman, all making their way through to the quarterfinals. Curtis Cray, his World Championships is over, and I can't wait to see what the quarterfinals will bring. As we take a look at this wonderful facility here in Copenhagen, Denmark, home of the Copenhagen BMX Club, and lining up on the gates the next heat number 6, Jens Ugemar, Kai White, Jack Davis, Ruben Commas, and Pietro Bersagnoli, who took his position with a last gasp dive.
Now, we were talking earlier how important it was for Kai to have a good start to his day. He's been trying to build back. He's had some back problems, and he ran a heater of a moto earlier. He won his moto, great lap time. He elected again to pick on the outside, and I look for Kai to repeat exactly what he did earlier, take a big hole shot from the outside here, but those riders on the inside are going to be trying to stop that, but might not be stoppable here.
Well, no, Kai's been looking good. He's given himself a little bit of room as well, so clearly there's a plan in mind.
Let's
see
and
if
then
he can work it.
Jack Davis is planning ahead here to try to follow Kai
riders,
over. That's his
random
thought
start.
process.
Riders ready, watch the gate.
Get drops on heat number 6, Jens Ugemar on the inside, and look at Kai White, exactly as we thought he would do, into the turn, but Jack Davis had other plans, and he's worked his way around the outside, so the Australian rider out in front, GB in there in 2, Kai White looking good, but we're coming to the part of the track where Kai White shines, a technical rhythm section where he can generate the speed. Look at him go as he goes down that third straight. Looks like Ugemar's in there in 4th, the Belgian rider Gommers on the outside looking in 5. Kai White's worked his way past. White takes it at the stride. Jack Davis in there in 2, Bertagnoli in 3, Ugemar in 4, and Kai White using his third straight skills and working his way to the front of the pack.
Kai ran a 32.0, but I don't really think he cares, because I think we now know what his plan is. He's going to be picking on the outside. He's not too concerned with having that first gate pick. But Kai had a great start, and we were talking about how Jack was going to follow him over, but Jack had other plans. He said, you know what, I'm going to take control of this one. I'm going to hole shot this from the outside.
Yeah, and he's a big-built lad as well, Jack Davis. He's got all that power, whereas Kai's a little bit more, streamlined and has that ability to just work his way into positions where, he can use his speed and his skills. And he certainly did that down that third straight. Got himself out in front of Jack Davis. They were 1 and 2 at that point. Bertagnoli going through in 3, Ugemar in 4. But certainly Kai White and Jack Davis putting the laps that they wanted to put in.
I will absolutely say Kai is the fastest rider down the third straight this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Kai White, Jack Davis, Pietro Bertagnoli and Jens Ugemar confirmed as going through to the quarterfinals here at the 2025 UCI BMX Racing World Championships.
Heat number 7 now.
Looks like we've got heat number 7 lining up on the gate. Eddie Clerté, Diego Arboleda, Santiago Suarez, Cameron Larson, Patrick Koo and Justin Kimmen. Eddie Clerté, he's promised so much at World Championship level. He's not quite been able to deliver. Will this be the race where he finally makes his mark?
Speed, skills, and talent has never been the problem for Eddie. Eddie is so fast. I think everybody's just been kind of at the edge of their seats waiting for him to get his first win.
Yeah.
Right? But you can't win until you get into the final. So this lap is all about just staying calm, riding smooth, and getting into tomorrow's race. But keep an eye on Cam Larson in 4. He's not somebody that you want on a one gate to your outside. So, you know, if you're in 3, that's not who you want in 4.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So Eddie Clerté and Diego Arboleda on the inside, heading down the hill. Clerté's getting his nose out in front, but here comes Cameron Larson of the USA. Oh, Clerté just held him on. Arboleda in there in that 3rd spot. Where is Justin Kim? And he's in there in 5 at the moment. Patrick Coote in there in 6. But it's Clerté and Arboleda going 1 and 2. Cameron Larson in that 3rd spot. Justin Kimmon's gone down on the entrance to turn number 2. So his lap is over. It's going to be Clerté and Arboleda bringing it to the line. Clerté, Arboleda, Larson going 1, 2 and 3. Suarez of Colombia goes through in 4, but Clerté, a solid lap from the Frenchman.
And Cameron Larson had a great start and was trying to push over to the inside, but couldn't quite get around Eddie. Eddie running a 32.0. So not yet into the 31s. Joris, Isaac, Magnus, Sylvan, the only ones in that 31 range. But Eddie did what he needed to do. He's going to be in the show tomorrow. Cam Larson was in 2nd, ended up going the wrong way, dropping back to 3rd. As you see here, Arboleda in 2nd. Eddie starts pushing out wide a little bit, and Arboleda kind of gets squeezed between Larson and Clerté. But, you know, Diego Arboleda is so skilled, so talented. He's going to use the track speed that he has to work his way around Cameron Larson, and every gate matters, right? Especially when you get into that quarterfinal, semifinal type of race.
Yep, Eddie Clerté looking good down that 3rd straight. I'm just noticing that 2nd turn is really starting to dry out now as well, which is going to be good for you know, the next laps that come through. But
perfect timing. It's going to just finish drying right as the race finishes.
Yeah, completely. So yeah, Eddie Clerté taking a win in that 8th final. Diego Arboleda in 2, Cameron Larson in 3, Suarez in 4. Disappointment for Patrick Coote and Justin Kimon as we go to heat number 8.
A couple of extremely fast and talented French guys in this. We could say that about pretty much every race here.
Yeah, absolutely. Hugo Marzalac, Arthur Pilar, Maurizio Molina, Stefan Heil, Michael Bias, and Oliver Moran.
Stefan Heil had a fantastic start in that first round of motos.
Yes, he did.
So keep your eye on the German here.
Yeah. Arthur Pilar, he's been a European champion twice. He was French champion in 2024. He's already had a World Cup win this season as well, so he's in fantastic form coming into these World Championships. And some say he might be the sleeper pick for the win.
Yeah, if by some you mean you. You know, we were talking earlier and you were saying he's definitely one of the ones, might not be talked about as much as Joris or as Isaac or as Sylvan, but you wouldn't be surprised.
No.
But he's got to get through this one first.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
So as they head down the hill, the 2 Frenchmen occupying those inside gates, Marzalac and Pilar as they head towards the turn. Pilar's picking up the whole shot. Michael Bias went wide and swung underneath, and he's worked his way into a top 4 spot now. The German back there in that 5th spot, and Molina of Chile getting involved as well. He's in there in 3 as they go in and out of that turn. Pilar and Marzalac, it's a French 1-2 as they head down towards the final corner. What's Bias got for Molina as they go into the final turn? Looks like he might have just settled for that 4th spot because he knows he's got a little bit of distance on the rider in 5. Pilar takes it. Marzalac in 2. Michael Bias with a very smart race. Stefan Heil, disappointment for the German.
Another great start by Stefan, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish, right? Arthur Pilar right there, 31.6. The 2nd fastest lap of the day. He was faster than Joris and Sylvan, but not as fast as the Danish hometown king of Magnus Dyer. But keep your eye on Bias here. When you have not a full gate, when you only have 5 or 6 riders, it opens the track up a little bit, and you can make some moves that you might not be able to make when there's a full 8 riders out there. It just takes advantage of the open track, makes a great move to cut under those two guys and put himself in a qualifying position, which is really all that matters here.
Yeah, absolutely. And he did it in one of the earlier rounds as well, so he's used the same tactic twice. Meanwhile, Arthur Pielard of France was out in front with Hugo Marzlak chasing him down that third straight. Molina was under pressure from Bias, but I think Bias knew he had a little bit of room to play with and wanted to, just keep that fourth position as they headed into the final corner. That said, had there have been a high-low on, I'm pretty sure he would have took it. But there was no such problems for Pielard and Marzlak as they brought into the strike. Molina in 3, Bias in 4, and the fans, Arthur Pilard's fan club, I think that is.
We'll have to go over there and find out what they have on their heads, what they're wearing.
I have no idea.
That 31.6, though, that's impressive. To be going faster on the lap time than Joris, Isaac, and Sylvan. I mean, Arthur is here to play.
Yeah, he certainly is, as we go back to what was heat number 1. So clearly, whatever the hold-up was, whatever the technical situation was, has been resolved. And we've got 2 Dutch riders, a Belgian, a Venezuelan, and an Italian.
So I love this classic Nick Kim and gate pick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8.
Yeah. And if Nick Kimmon's out there in 8, it means he's probably feeling quite good. So double world champion, world championship silver, and obviously the 2021 Olympic champion. Good to see him back racing BMX again.
At the end of the day, I'm just happy to see him here. And a year seems like a really long time in the BMX racing world. At the World Championships last year, he almost won.
Yeah.
Wasn't that long ago.
Okay, riders, random start. Riders ready, watch the gate.
Here we go with the last of the 1/8 finals for the men elites, and here comes Nick Kimmen across from the outside. Oh, one rider down already, and Kimmen, is he going to pick up the whole shot? Yep, Jamie O'Brink just been shuffled back a little bit. Oh, Nick Kimmen went wide, he's managed to hold on to it though. The Barley's going, and then Wannes Magdalens is in there as well, the Belgian rider. He's worked his way into the front, so it's Belgium leading it out. The Netherlands are 2 and 3 at the minute. Kimmen and Jamie O'Brink into the final corner. Brink's worked his way into that second spot, so Wannes Magdalens of Belgium is going to take the win. Brink for 2, Kimmen for 3. Rolling through for that 4th spot, that's going to be Giacomo Fantoni. Looks like Severo went down. Wow, all action.
Yeah, and I tell you right there, that is the old generation and new generation, right? Between Nick and Jamie, there's a decade between them. I think into the first turn though, they were being nice to each other. They're countrymen. I think had that been a main event for another rider, I think Jamie O could have really stuck it in there and been a little bit more aggressive, as could have Nick. But Nick rides himself over the turn here. He goes a little bit too high, and if you see right here, just goes right about over. He does a great job saving it and getting back into it. But those 2 Dutch boys, they were lucky that there wasn't anybody there to capitalize on the mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas Wannes Magdalens of Belgium just went, right, if you guys are going to just look out for each other, I'll just nip through, take that first position away, worked it into that final corner. So Wannes Magdalens is going to get himself a decent gate pick for the quarter-final, and that's exactly what you need at this level. Meanwhile, Jamie O'Brink had worked his way underneath Nick Kimmen. Nick's wily enough and experienced enough to know that he just needs to be in the top 4, but when he's coming from gate 8 and he's feeling confident, even though he's only just back on the bike, it's classic Nick Kimmen, and I can't wait to see more.
I think every time that Nick has a good lap or a good day, he's going to get his confidence back, and a confident Nick is hard to beat.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that is your confirmed result. Wannes Magdalens of Belgium, Jamie O'Brink and Nick Kimmen from the Netherlands, and Giacomo Fantoni of Italy, all going through to the quarterfinals. That is the 8 finals here at the 2025 BMX Racing World Championships, hosted by the UCI. The 8 finals are complete as we overlook the venue here in Copenhagen, Denmark. There's been so much good racing over the last week here with the challenge classes as well. Over 3,500 riders involved in this World Championships. It's been one of the best we've ever been to, in a beautiful location on a fantastic facility. We're so excited for more. The quarterfinals, the semi-finals and the finals that'll be on day number 2. There's so much more to come, so much more drama, so much more action. Connor, I can't wait for more. Oh
yeah, and everybody's going to think that they had the hard quarter tomorrow, but Rich, at the World Championships, they're all hard.
Yeah, it's always going to be difficult, no matter what. But one thing we can be guaranteed is the best BMX racing action in the world. It's going to be so good. So, Connor, who's going to be your riders to watch in the quarterfinal stage?
I mean, when you go to the women's class, when we saw the motos earlier, I thought Bethany looked fantastic. Right? Saya Scott Kabar looked good. On the men's side, Joris, Isaac, Arthur, Kai, all the usual suspects.
Yeah, as we take a look back at some of the action, Ben Cornish in the junior men category.
And I think Rusharoo, Clement, the junior, ran a 31.8. I mean, he was right there going as fast as some of the top riders in the world.
Yeah, certainly, and he's got a lot more to give us. Yeah, all the action took place in turn number 1. Jesse Asmus just coming up short as he hit that triple. Didn't stop him going through. Meanwhile, the action continued as yeah, riders got tangled up in that first corner. But yeah, so much to unpack. It'll probably take us all evening to think about it, bring it all back and discuss it again tomorrow.
So I think I'm most excited to watch Magnus tomorrow. This place is going to erupt if he starts getting on a roll.
Oh yeah, Magnus Dowry put such a good lap in. Fastest one pretty much of the day.
Killed everybody by a lot.
His first straight was amazing. You know, and when you've got that kind of confidence at a home world championship, it can only mean good things, and I really hope it happens for him.
But this is BMX racing, so this is what you line up. You just never know.
You never know. So, yeah, certainly that Venezuelan rider hitting the deck. And as we look at all the action here.
Looking ahead to tomorrow as well, one thing that I think is going to be great is in the women's class, especially in the juniors and the U23, big factor is going to be who can jump that triple, as we saw earlier, because not everybody is.
No, that's very true. That's very true. So, yeah, there's going to be some deciders in some of the classes. And I think, you know, if you're going to, you know, take the gamble and just try and make it happen at that point, it's the World Championships. You're in a quarter, you're in a semi. You know, you've just got to pull the pin and just hope it works.
You got to go for it. Sometimes you just got to send it.
So, yeah, plenty.
Jack Davis, what a first straight Jack had there.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we watch the last of the action here, the crowd getting involved.
There's going to be a few riders sleeping well tonight. There's going to be a few riders with a little bit of anxiety and nerves, getting a couple hours sleep, and just thinking about what gate pick they have tomorrow.
Yeah, if you were on the outside, well, you've been on the inside looking out as well, but if you had a rider who was that little bit more nervous, what would you be saying to him just to calm them down a little bit?
Whatever happened today, if you're in the show tomorrow, it doesn't matter. You could have won your lap by 5 bike lengths today. You could have gotten 4th and barely made it. You start anew tomorrow.
Yeah.
Today's wiped off the board.
Okay. Fresh day, fresh lap, fresh chance.
And at the end of the day, you know, it's some special banners. You know, there's the stripes here, but it's just the BMX race. There's 8 riders in the gate. The gate goes down. There's jumps, turns, finish line. The first person wins. You've been doing it your whole life.
Yeah, just follow the process. Do what you need to do, and bring your A game when your A game is needed.
And don't forget to have fun, especially, you know, if you've got some family here or a whole group of fans like Pills does.
Yeah.
Or if you're Magnus, you know, take a second to enjoy what you're doing too. Right? You follow your process. Don't get lost in that, but take a quick moment to just smile and appreciate what you're doing, and then get back to focus.
Yeah, yeah. So plenty of good advice there, and if there's young riders watching, you know, you just had some advice from a man who's done it all, the Olympic champion Connor Fields.
You know, I have my credential here, and it does say former world champion, so I guess time trial does count.
Yeah.
We're counting time trials. Oh, man, I am excited to watch him tomorrow.
Yeah, Magnus Dyer, yeah, he gave the home fans what they wanted. He's got plenty more in the tank, I think.
And I think it might be some Orange fans happy tomorrow, especially in the U23 classes.
Yeah, definitely. So the Dutch fans, they'll be looking for Michel Vissing and Jason Noordam to do what they're good at. They've been dominant in that World Cup series, and I think everybody's a Sylvain Andre fan. You know, I think I would bet my, don't quote me on this, but I think I would bet a lot of money that Sylvain Andre will be blowing kisses at the camera in the main event. Yep, so it's all to play for here at Copenhagen, the 2025 UCI BMX Racing World Championships. I'm Rich Eames here with my co-commentator Connor Fields. Join us for the quarterfinals, more exciting BMX race action. We'll see you then. Goodbye.